How we doing today, guys? Excited to be doing this, facilitating the second episode of fitt TV, Gravitating Toward Your Power show. So, really excited because this is not only on Facebook Live, but it's also on the YouTube channel and it's also on the podcast. So if you're watching it on one of those two right now, you know that you're hearing it recorded, but you're hearing it now live. So I'm really excited to facilitate this for you guys. So we're going to get into it, but today is going to be a solo round. So this is going to be primarily around my transformation, my story, and I want to give you guys some advice on how you could, if you're in a similar situation to what I have been in or was in, how you can actually make that transition as well. So I'm going to talk about 3 takeaway points today after I share my story. 3 takeaway points that you can implement right now that's going to help you go from 20% body fat or wherever you are down to the single digit body fats. So this story primarily is about how I, Austin Gravett, went from 20% body fat, skinny fat, down to the 6 to 7% body fat range. Now keep in mind that I'm fluctuating right now around more so a 8 to 10% range, but that is because I choose to. I'm eating more flexibly, and also my goals are a little bit different. My goals are to have more of that athletic look, not the super ripped look, and I want to have, a lot of strength. So I'm trying to build more strength right now, and that requires me to eat more. So that is why I'm following something that has and I have a little bit of higher body fat right now. But this is about you guys today. So real quick, I want to dive into my story. And my story, how I started working out about 7 years ago. And I started working out about 7 years ago. And ever since then, it's been a rough journey in the sense that when I first started, I was like all over the board, didn't know how to essentially, really, I didn't know what I was doing. I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't know what I was doing, and I felt like I was spinning my wheels for a long time. And I'm not going to get into really all the details of how I started, but I was, surrounding myself with the wrong people in the beginning, and it really wasn't in the best social circle. I really wasn't in the best circle of influence, if you will. And what really was the catalyst, what really was the paradigm shift, was when I really started to surround myself with the right people and take the right actions. So you guys have probably heard my story before, but I want to say this to all the new people, and also just to fill you guys in again. But when I started to surround myself with the right people and take the right actions, that really was a paradigm shift. And that's really what allowed me to align myself with where I wanted to go. And I really discovered my purpose and passion through fitness and making that shift. But I used to be a super cynical, pessimistic, and negative person, and really didn't see the best in any situation. So when I started to find the right group of people, things started to shift. So that's where things started to slowly, I don't want to use the word manifest, but things started to make more sense in my life. It started to come to me. Ideas started to flow. And really what had happened was, I guess the best way to say this is, I fell in love with fitness through, meeting a group of friends, the right group of friends, and trial and error. I really didn't. I would try a bunch of times, and with working out, I would try to lose body fat. I would try to gain muscle, and I would go back and forth. I would have like this yo-yo back and forth. I would try to put on. I would do the traditional bulk, trying to put on X number of pounds, trying to put on muscle, and inevitably, what would happen is I would gain all this body fat. So, like I said before, I started from 20% body fat. I was skinny fat, and I would try to bulk and put on, more muscle, thinking that I would lose body fat, and it was the opposite. I would actually gain more fat. I would get a little bit more muscular, but I'd gain more fat. And then what I would do, guys, is I would try to cut down really aggressively, And when I would cut down, I would lose everything. I would lose all the muscle I gained, all the body fat would actually go down too as well, but I was still stuck with like that flabby, skinny fat look. I had like, fat around my abs still, my lower abs, my back. I really just didn't feel like I looked ideal. I didn't feel like I looked good. And it really bothered me. It really, growing up, I wasn't the most confident person, I'll tell you guys that. But it really messed with my confidence. I didn't feel super confident in my own skin. I would compare myself to others, and I would really just be, again, this would feed on the negativity, feed on the, the cynicism, and just like, I just didn't feel great. And, what really, again, was the paradigm shift was, again, surrounding myself with the right people, taking the right actions. And I want to get into what the actions were today for you guys, because this is the golden nugget for you guys. But again, trial and error over time, this is what allowed me to go from 20% body fat, skinny fat, 20% body fat, down to the single digit range. Down to, at one point I actually was 4% body fat, but say that for another day because that's not so healthy. I got down to the 7% range. I was able to maintain that 7% range. And what it was first, guys, was, again, the circle of influence, having some form of external accountability. So, like I've said in the past, that mindset is undeniably the biggest, I guess the word I want to use is linchpin. Undeniably is the common denominator of achieving anything great. You have to have a very, very, very strong mindset. If you don't have a strong mindset, then inevitably something that comes your way, some type of struggle that comes your way, you're gonna fall down. And if you don't have a good mindset, you're gonna stay down. So inevitably, mindset is the most critical factor that comes into play. And one way of really building it, because I always get asked this question, one way of really building a strong foundational mindset is first understanding that things are not happening to you, things are happening because of you. So it's more so of how you respond to a certain circumstance. If you're following along with me, it's how you respond to things that are coming, that are happening to your life. And when I understood this is really what allowed me to deal with a lot of emotional things, a lot of things that I thought were happening to me, but it was really me responding to things in such a way. So we are in control of a lot of our actions. So that's the first thing. And I know this is a little bit off topic with fitness, but hear me out for a second. So understanding that a lot of fitness and results that come into life, a lot of great things that we go after, is through mindset. It's through, what we perceive. It's through our perceptions. So if you have a strong foundational mindset, if you have a strong mindset, then that's what's going to help you get there. 80% of success is mindset, and the other 20% is the mechanics. So mindset is obviously the most common denominator here. Now, one actionable thing that you can do to build a stronger mindset is, focus on what's your why. So you can ask yourself, why am I trying to achieve a particular goal? Why am I trying to go after this goal? So when you create a big enough, compelling reason why, guys, that's what's going to allow you to stick to that goal when things come in your way. When curveballs are thrown at you in life, when you have a strong enough why, a compelling reason why, that's what's going to allow you to stay grounded. So that's definitely the first thing I cannot recommend anymore. Is mindset is so imperative, so critical, so fundamental. And I know it's a very black and white subject, but you have to have a strong mindset no matter what. And the first way to doing that is creating a compelling reason why. Because inevitably we all fall down at some point, guys. It doesn't matter if you're Superman. It doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete. It doesn't matter what your job is. At some point, we all as humans experience adversity, and it's how we handle that adversity. It's how we overcome that adversity. It's how we use that adversity to our advantage. It's how we cultivate it and use it to our advantage. That's what allows us to continue on and reach that highest level, reach that next level. You know, it's how you handle adversity and keep your eyes on the target where you want to go. That's what life's about. And that's what, you know, with fitness as well, because there's always going to be adversity. So that's the number one thing, guys, is find some external accountability, find your why, and find some form of external accountability. That's the first step I can recommend for you guys. The second thing I want to dive into now is more so when I determined the mechanical part of it, when I determined my diet, when I determined how nutrition worked, or when I decided how I wanted to live, when I decided how I wanted to look, when I decided how I wanted to feel. When I got clear on my intentions, when I got clear on my vision, that's what really allowed me to cultivate a nutritional plan, you know, that would send me in trajectory with that goal. So the biggest thing is understanding diet, but not trying to do a million different types of diets, not trying to spread yourself too thin and try all these different things. The biggest thing is focusing on the calories in versus calories out. That's the number one thing. And the second biggest thing is focusing on your macronutrients. And that literally, if you can get that down, oh my gosh, you are gonna see incredible results if you can get that down. And like I said before previously, we have a lot of things that go on in life, a lot of things that we experience, you know, and the last thing we wanna do is have to worry about what we can eat and what we can't eat. But I wanna make this, guys, simple for you guys, because this is really, the whole point of diet is it should be simple. You know, nutrition shouldn't be complex. So one way you can go about doing this, let's say you're an individual, you're male, and you're 20% body fat. And let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you want to get down to like the 170, 180 region, we'll say, okay? And you want to get down to about 10% body fat, we'll say, okay? What you want to do is you want to take your ideal weight and you want to multiply that by about 15. Put that number aside. That's for later use. The most important number you want to do right now, an equation you want to figure out, is take that 200-pound weight that you are right now and multiply that by 12. When you do that, you're going to get about 2,400 calories. This 2,400 calories is how much you should be consuming on a daily basis. These 2,400 calories. Now, how long do you consume that for? That's probably the question I get asked a lot. You consume it until you stop making, you know, progress. So you eat 2,400 calories until you continually stop making progress. Now, guys, understand that there's a lot of factors that play into role with this. So, like, it may not be 2,400 for everyone. That's the thing you have to understand is maybe you have a very active job, or maybe you have a sedentary job. Maybe you're a male, or maybe you're a female. Maybe you know, you prefer to work out this many times a week, or you don't prefer to work this many times a week. So that's the thing that plays a large role with this, guys, is that, you know, there's a lot of variables that come into play. So 2,400 is just a broad example that you can follow. Now, the other thing to understand is that once you get those calories down, the next most important thing is the macronutrients, like I said. So if you can really determine what your macronutrient levels are, you're gonna really be able to change how your body looks. But the calories is the most important, then the macronutrients. So macronutrients, a standard that I say to follow, let's say that guy who's 200 pounds, again, 20% body fat, wants to get down to the 170, 180 region and 10% body fat, then what he would need to do ultimately is this. The carbohydrates have to be pretty high still. I'm not a big believer in a low carb diet. I don't think they're feasible. I don't think they're sustainable, and that's why I don't follow them. I am a believer in ketogenic diets as an advanced method, but we're focusing on the basics today. So what you would do is follow, if you're that 20% or 200-pound guy, 20% body fat, you would follow this. You would do 50% of your diet coming from carbs. You would do about 20 to 30% of your diet coming from protein and the remainder from fat. That has been the most proven and most effective macronutrient split for males that are losing, or males in that range that are trying to drop body fat, trying to get down to, the 10-digit, possibly sub 10% body fat level. That's a way to still maintain your strength, still actually build strength, and also still stay lean while in the process. Still keep that muscle mass while in the process. And that's how you do it, is following those macronutrients. So when I really understood, what was the appropriate amount of macronutrients to follow, that was probably more important than, I will say, than the training itself. Because this is gonna transition now into training. We're gonna talk about fitness and training. But calories and macronutrients come after mindset. And I believe calories and macronutrients, if you could push mindset aside and say how important of that 20% I said earlier, the mechanics and tactics, how important is that 20%? I would have to say calories and macronutrients and nutrition as a whole takes a part of at least 60 to 80% of results. So if you're following me right now, I said earlier, 80% of success is mindset, and the other 20% is the actual steps, the tactics you take. Of that 20%, breaking down the tactical part, 60 to 80% is nutrition. The other 40 to 20% is working out, it's fitness. So that you are what you eat, as you hear that term. You really are what you eat. So it plays such a vital role in eating the right foods, still eating clean and still having, a sustainable lifestyle at the same time, still having something that's flexible. I'm a big believer in flexible dieting as well, but we will save that for another broadcast. So that's the next thing, is fitness. Now we're transitioning into fitness. This is the third fundamental key. So understand that fitness there's a lot of things that can go on in fitness, and one principle or one acronym that I'm a huge believer in, I think this is a great acronym to follow if you don't know what steps to take, in order to achieve your goal, is following the FIT principle. And that is actually why I named GravFit, one of the reasons why I named GravFit its name, because if you look closely, it's not spelled GravFit like F-I-T, it's F-I-T-T. And to just touch upon what that principle is, guys, it stands for frequency, intensity, type, frequency, intensity, time, and type. So what basically that means is frequency, how frequent you work throughout the week; intensity, how intense your workouts are, so the rest periods; time, so that's like how long the duration of the workouts are, so if it's an hour, half hour; and then type, so that is the type of training, the specificity towards what you're training for. And I think that one is probably fundamentally the most important of FITT. But if you guys can master the FIT principle, then you can master, you can make your own fitness plan. If you can master the fitness principle, the FIT principle. So kind of let's break it down just one more time. So let's give an example. Let's say you're a male 20 pounds, or 20 pounds. Let's say you're a male 200 pounds and you're 20% body fat. That's what I wanted to say. And you want to go down again to 10% body fat. You want to be in that maybe like 170, 180 range. What you would want to do, guys, is this. I would recommend someone like that following more so of a multi-body part workout versus a single body part workout. And this is the reason why. So first, what you want to do is we're going to start with the frequency. So we're going to start with the frequency. You would want to work out at a minimum 3 times a week. Maximum, you would want to work out 6 times a week. But I'd say start small, don't overwhelm yourself, don't spread yourself too thin. Focus with 3 times a week. After you can get 3 times a week, continually throughout the week, if you're on a continual routine, then you can up it. But focus on 3 times a week. That's what's going to be the sweet spot. Maybe add, a couple more times, but 3 times a week and hitting every single muscle throughout those 3 times a week. Next, we're going to focus on the intensity. So the next principle is the part of the FIT principle is the intensity. And the intensity works like this. I would say keep your rest periods no more than 3 minutes and keep them no less than 45 seconds. So really finding what is the sweet spot in there for you. If you're trying to build strength, keep it more on the 3-minute side. That way you give your muscles more time to replenish throughout the sets, more time to recuperate. If you're more for the building the leanness, the size, hypertrophy, focus more on the lower rest intervals, like 45 seconds to 90 seconds in that range. So that's the intensity. The next thing you want to follow into is the time. So the duration of the workout. This is anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours. I really don't recommend going over an hour and a half though. The reason I say 2 hours is if it's for like running based workouts, if you're training for like something that's endurance based. But we're gonna not focus on that today. What we're gonna focus on is from 20 minutes to about an hour and 10, we'll say an hour and 20, just to add abs in there. So that's a sweet spot. If you're 200 pounds, 20% body fat, you're trying to go to 10% body fat in the 170, 180 range, then focus on those times. Focus on 20 minutes to 1 hour. If you can focus in that time range, 20 minutes to 1 hour, or an hour and 10 minutes, we'll say give or take, that's perfect. That's a perfect window right there. So that's good for time. It's good for duration. The last one you want to focus on, and like I said before with the FIT principle, is the last T, and that is type. Type is probably the most important part of this principle. That's why I kind of started it off with that. But type stands for pretty much the specificity. What are you training for? Because think of this. You wouldn't be a marathon runner and train for a sprint, would you? Or you wouldn't be a sprinter and train as a marathon runner, would you? No, because those are two polar opposites. Those are two entire opposites that are not going to align you with your goals. So that's the thing, guys, is you want to be specific. And one way of doing that is, let's say you're that 200-pound individual, 20% body fat. You want to get down to 10% body fat at around a 170 to 180 range. What you're going to do is focus more on multi-body part workouts. You're going to focus more on doing multiple body part workouts. So that consists of like doing a chest press with an overhead press and also a dip. That would be 3 different muscles getting worked in one workout. And that would be doing like your chest, your shoulders, and also your triceps. So you're working 3 different body parts that are all push motions, and you're doing that a couple times throughout the week. Another example would be like doing deadlifts, doing back rows, and doing maybe curls, so barbell curls. So you're working a lot of your back and also biceps. So you're hitting multiple groups, a little bit of your traps as well. So another way of doing that is also legs. You could do deadlifts with squats, with lunges, and leg curls. So that way you're incorporating a multitude of muscles versus just limiting it to one. So this approach is more effective in building strength, also building more of a lean athletic frame, and also just leaning down, burning body fat. You're going to burn more calories by following the multi-body part approach. Versus if you were to do a little bit lighter weight, more reps, more volume, single body part throughout the week, that's more accepted towards someone who's trying to get more symmetry, get more muscle hypertrophy, not someone who's really trying to cut body fat as much. Not to say you can't, but it's more for aesthetics, more for symmetrical purposes. Not to say that way of training isn't right. I used to do that way of training a lot, but my goals have changed. I'm more focused on building strength. I'm more focused on building more of a lean athletic frame. Something that's a little bit more, if you will, more of an athletic look rather than, a men's physique look right now. So those are just my goals. I'm going more towards powerlifting as well. But understand this, guys, is that the FIT principle, most importantly, is what's going to guide you in the right direction towards your goals. So again, frequency, intensity, I always forget this one. Frequency, intensity, time, and type. I don't know why I always screw that up, but frequency, intensity, time, and type. That is what's going to help you guys. So if you can get those down, then you're set. But again, the type out of that whole FIT principle is the most imperative part of that acronym. You have to really get down. You have to be specific. If you're not specific, you're going to waste your time. You know, it's no different, like I said, than if you're trying to, let's say, you know, train for a marathon. You're not going to run like a sprinter. Or if you're trying to train for a 100-meter dash, you're not going to run miles on end at a slow pace. You know, you want to be specific because that's what's going to guide you in trajectory towards that goal. But that was, you know, the 40 to 20% of results right there is the fitness part of it. But the next thing I can really say, guys, is kind of summarizing everything. If you can understand these three fundamentals, like I know I went a lot in depth with these, but if you can understand these three fundamentals, then you can transform your body. You can go from anywhere above, even if it's above 20%, you can 100% go down to the single-digit body fat percentage. But you have to understand it's going to take hard work. It's going to take patience. It's going to take consistency. Consistency is another big word I love to use because it's never about persistence. It's always about being consistent. You know, you don't just get it and then that's it. You know, you continually master it. You continually work at it day in and day out. You know, you want to maintain that after you reach it. So, you know, that is the first solo round episode of GravFit TV, gravitating towards your power. So I hope you guys found this crazy helpful. This is like literally, this is all my secrets into one. I try to give it to you guys all into one. The most important things that I learned through 7 to 8 years, I think almost 8 years now of training. And this is everything I've mastered. You know, this is everything that's taught me to get to where I was point A to now point Z, and continually I'm growing and learning each day. So I hope you guys can implement a lot of this advice that I gave to you guys today. But that's the main thing, is if you're that skinny fat guy that wants to go down from 20% body fat down to the 10% range, or if not less, then if you follow these three tactical steps that I just gave you, you will get there, no matter what. But if you're stuck, you know, and still uncertain, just always shoot us a message. Shoot me a message on Facebook. But that's the biggest thing, guys, is this is the first episode. I hope you got a ton of value from this. I'm really excited to facilitate these every Wednesday at 12 p.m. EST. They're also broadcasted on the YouTube channel if you're watching now, and also on the podcast if you're listening in right now. So again, shoot me a message on Facebook. That's the best way to get connected. Just go to GravFit, or Facebook/GravFit, and just drop us a message there. And that is all. So I hope you guys have an incredible day, and stay tuned for next week's episode. We're going to make it a really fun one. I'm not going to say who the guest is yet, but this is going to be a very powerful episode. A lot of it, I will say, a hint right here, has to do with mindset and a lot of cool things that you can implement as well. So take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.